Greetings everyone, my name is Altarian and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Hakuoki Edo Blossom. After returning to Edo, the other captains updated us with the outcome of the battle. As we expected, there was no way for the new recruits to battle the Furies, as they lacked any real combat experience, let alone Fury experience. The Koyo Regulation Company was dealt a bad hand, forcing Kondo to retreat. The Satsuma Chosu had strengthened their Furies from what had already been nearly unstoppable force for the Shinsengumi. For the captains of the Shinsengumi, these improved foes proved to be a great obstacle, making our fates even more tenuous in these fearful, desperate times. (1868) March. After an arduous walk, Sato and I returned from Kofu. It was decided that we were to remain on standby at Edo Hatamoto's mansion, which still served as headquarters, while we gathered our men. Nagakura and Harada had safely returned to Edo shortly after we did, but Kodo and Hijikata, on the other hand, took far longer to return to the headquarters. Both Nagakura and Harada had their fair share of criticism of Kondo for a while, so it left a bitter taste in their mouths when neither leader had returned. During one brisk morning.
そんじゃあ世話になったな、二人とも。俺たちがいなくなっても泣くんじゃねえぞ。
Aye, we'll take care of you two. Don't go crying around just because you won't seeing us around anymore. Are you two really leaving?
そろそろ潮時だろうと思ってな。
Figured it's the right time, if ever.
みんなと別れるのが寂しくねって言えば嘘になるが。
Well, I'd be lying if I'd said I wouldn't miss anyone. Is there any way you could speak with Kondo and perhaps reach a compromise?
話し合いならもう何遍もしたさ。最後はもう殴り合い寸前の大喧嘩。
Ah, been there, done that. No, last time we really laid into each other. Almost got into a fist fight over it.
もし刀を刺してたらどうなってたかわかんねえぜ。
Who know what might have happened if you had the swords with us?
おいおい、新八。局中法度を忘れたのか？死闘は厳禁だろ。
Oh yeah, Shinpachi, are you forgetting the rules of conduct here? No personal conflict allowed, buddy.
お、やべ。
Oh shit.
てか、俺はもう新選組の幹部じゃねえんだから局中法度も関係ねえって。
Aye, we aren't the Shinsengumi captains anymore, so you know those rules don't apply to us either. Surprisingly, Harada and Nagakura found time to be their usual joking selves. It was difficult to accept that this could be the last moment all of us would share together. May I ask why you guys are leaving the Shinsengumi?
理由はさ、いろいろあるんだけどな。
Well, where do I start? Really? Nagakura impetuously scratched at his nose with his finger.
別に薩長と戦うのが嫌なわけじゃねえんだ。
It's not like we don't want to fight the Satsu and Shosu anymore.
先が見えねえ暮らしってのも司令官に居候してた頃と大して変わらねえ。
And we've been kind of living on the skin of our teeth for a while now. Even since Sheihal days.
ただ、なんつうか、このままここにいると、俺が生きてきた人生が全部嘘になっちまう気がしたんだ。
It's just that, you know, I felt like if I continue being here, everything I've done would rather start to feel like a big fat lie, you know? A lie. For a moment, Nagakura was deep in thought. It seemed as though he had settled on an answer, but he was choosing his words very carefully.
俺は近藤さんや土方さんみたいに侍になりてえって思ってたわけじゃねえからさ。
Well, for starters, it's not like I had any big dreams to become a samurai like Kondo or Hijikata did.
自分が選んだわけでもねえ殿様に命がけで尽くすってのはどうしても性に合わねえ。
So it doesn't really suit me to serving a master I had no say in choosing.
サッチョの奴らに銃で撃たれるのは別に切られることだって怖くね
Being shot by the Sacho? Nah, no big deal, and I'm not afraid of getting any cut or stabbed.
ただ死ぬ間際にあの時ああしてりゃよかったって思うのだが絶対に嫌なんだ
But the only thing that I don't want to regret is actually, if I die, well, I don't want to have to say, I wish I did that while I could back then. Saito instantly perked up. Although his actual expression change was relatively noticeable, perhaps something that Nagakura had said struck a nerve with him. Well, of course, because that's what Saito previous episodes explained. The way of the samurai, the way of living, this is all he know. Nagakura definitely understands the same concept, that if he dies now, he'll just be shot. Not even an epic battle, or the times have changed. He was, I would say, he stopped at his glory point. I think that's what he's trying to say here. Do you feel the same way, Harada?
同じ考えってやめてくれよ。
Same way? Come on, screw that.
剣術修行のためだけに脱藩して安定した暮らしを捨てたバカと一緒くたにされちゃ俺がかわいそうだろう。
Kinda sucks that you think of me as some idiot Dappan who wasted all his time training and throws away his life. What is a Dappan? Dappan, the conscious choice to disaffiliate with a family or feudal retainer, thus serving ties between a warrior and a sporting network. Okay.
うるせえぞ佐野てめえだって脱藩者じゃねえかよ
Hey, shut up, Sano. You're a lordless samurai now too. Nagakura sniped back angrily, but Harada smirked as he whispered his response to me
な
quietly.
んつうかさ、今の近藤さんを近くで見てるのって正直きついんだよな。
Hey, you see, between us, it kinda hurts seeing Kondo act as a buffoon lately. It hurts?
分不相応なおもちゃもらってはしゃいでるガキみてえに見えるっつうか空回りしてるってのかな。
I was acting like a kid lately, who's just got the shiniest stone in town with his new position. We just can't wait to show how nice it is. It's been getting too much.
自衛官でバカやってた頃や今日で不定老師を追いかけ回してた頃はそんな風には思わなかったんだけどな。
It was never like this back when we were just messing around the Shei Hall. When we were chasing the outlaw Ronin in Kyoto. Each time, either man expresses his candid reflection about Kondo, or the way things used to be. It reminds me of just how ephemeral each of those moments were, and how impossible it is to reclaim them as they used to be.
ま、俺たちはこれからも薩長と戦い続けるのは変わらねえしさ。
Well, by the way, nothing changed the fact that we're still gonna have to fight a Satsuma Chosu here.
そうそう。別にこれが最後の別れになるわけじゃねえんだ。
Right.
そんな顔すんなよ。
This isn't the end for us, so don't look like such a downer, kid. Okay. On the outside, I agree with what they say, but on the inside, I know I couldn't quite believe it. The tables had turned, the shogunate had dissolved, and the Satsuma and Shosu domain, who only recently were considered traitors, now comprised the imperial army. What would later become of all this? However, was something none of us had even anticipated.
じゃあ俺たちそろそろ行くからよ。
Anyways, time for us to head out. Please wait, allow me to escort you out.
いいって。そんなことされたら余計に別れが辛くなるじゃねえか。
It's alright, don't need to do that. If you do that, it'll be only harder for us to say goodbye.
大した手間ではない。送る。
It is no inconvenience. We will see you off. Saito spoke quite firmly, and together we walked both of the men towards the front gate. As we exited the building, we found Soma and Nomura standing idly to share the salutation.
長倉さん、原田さん。
Nagakura, Harada.
とうとう行ってしまうんですね。お二人がいなくなってしまうと寂しくなります。
So you guys are really leaving, huh? Things are gonna be real dry around here without you for sure.
何言ってんだよ。 うるせえ先輩がいなくなってのびのびできるじゃねえか。
Ah, guys, come on. I know you guys would love. I know you guys are excited that your noisy commanding officers are gonna be out of your hair
う
now.
るさかったのはお前だけだろうが、一緒にするんじゃねえ。
I speak for yourself. You're the only noisy one. Don't compare me to you.
相馬、野村、これからも近藤さんや土方さんのことをよろしく頼むぜ。
Hey, Soma, Nomura. Please take care of Kondo and Hijikata.
はい。任せてください。
Yes, sir, leave it to us. Well, please look after yourselves.
お、それじゃあ。
Sure thing. Later, everyone. Harada took one step in an attempt to leave, but Nagakura, however, was frozen and he turned around. He marched up to Saito silently.
サイト、お前、ずっとここに残るつもりなのか？
Hey, Saito. Hey, are you planning on staying here forever?
あ、
Yes.
今の俺が武士として生きられる場所はここしかない。
The only way I can fulfill my duty as a warrior is by staying here. Nagakura seemed dissatisfied with Saito's answer. He took a breath as if he were about to refute Saito's answer, but instead let out a heavy sigh. With a crooked expression, Nagakura seemed to deliberate to himself, hoping to find something meaningful to say. But after a brief pause, he gazed solemnly at Saito.
史跡を持ってねえからって武士じゃねえってわけじゃねえだろ。
Just because they don't recognize you as a samurai doesn't make you less of a warrior.
どういう意味だ？
What is that you're trying to say?
新しい殿様を見つける機会だって考えりゃいいじゃねえか。
Why don't you try to find a new place that'll value you? A master who'll give you a second chance.
着物だって腰に刺す刀だって嫁さんだって自分の気に入ったのを選ぶもんだろ。
I mean, you pick your clothes, your sword, your wife, basically anything that matters to you, right?
殿様だけそうしちゃいけねえって誰が決めたんだ？
So who the hell decides that you can't choose your own master too?
おいおい、新八、風来坊のお前と斎藤を一緒にすんなって。
Aye, Shin, alright. You're a vagabond now. Don't put yourself in the same boat as Saito.
なんだよ、俺は親切心でだな。
I'm just trying to look out for him is all.
じゃあんまり長々話してても別れたくなくなっちまうし、俺たちはもう行くからよ。
Anyway, we probably could be talking here for days, but parting such sweet sorrow and all. So, see y'all later. Alright then, farewell. With that, Nagakura and Harada waved their goodbyes, leaving the compounds without a second look. Soma and Nomura were locked in a moment, quietly watching them depart until Soma broke the silence.
俺たちは仕事が残ってますから中に戻ります。
We have some errands left to finish, so we're going to head back in. Oh, okay, we'll see you guys later. The two bowed, and they sauntered back into the compounds. Saito, do you think we should head back inside as well? I meekly called out to Saito, but he seemed fixed to the spot, immovable as stone, and he had no intention to answer my question. Instead, he stared somberly in the direction where his old friends had just left, stuck in the ineffable realization that this could be permanent departure. Perhaps it would have been best for me to leave him be. I decided to head back in so that Saito could be alone.
戻るか。
Let us return. His tone was far more melancholic than that to which I had become accustomed to. Later that night, a surprise awaited us. Kondo and Hijikata, who had been conspicuously absent for some time, had finally returned to us.
よう、悪かったな。ずいぶん長く留守にしちまって。
Sorry for leaving you all to deal with this. With getting back here all by yourselves.
みんな元気そうだな。大使の数は減ってしまったようだが。
Everything seems to be in order here, despite having far fewer men in our ranks, it would seem. A significant amount of the time had passed since Kondo had last visited our headquarters, and since his last visit, the mood was far more glum. Come to think of it, Nagakura mentioned that the last conversation resulted in a near acceleration. If I had to guess, perhaps Kondo was still processing some of those sore
お
feelings.
二人ともご無事で何よりでした。
Glad to see the two of you arrive safely. A meeting was called for all the men, but The only one present were Kondo, Hichikata, Saito, Sanan, and Heisuke. Perhaps it was my habit of becoming rather sentimental whenever given the opportunity, but watching each of our men decrease, one by one, was a bleak reminder of what was taken for us.
サイト、詳しい話を聞かせてくれ。
Saito,
あの後、
status
甲府で
report,
何があっ
please.
た？
What had happened here in Kofu?
敵が羅刹体を使ってやがったってのは本当か？
Is it true that the Imperials were using Furies?
はい。しかもただの羅刹ではなく、日の光の下でも戦える様子でした。
Indeed. But they were not the same kind of fury. They had the capability to fight under sunlight.
日の光の下で
Sanan! Under the sunlight?
それは一体どのようなものなのです？すでに羅刹となったものにも有効なのですか？
Can you tell us more about this? Does their strength surpass the current irritation of fury soldiers we have? Saito glanced over at Hichikata, as if he were unsure if he could confirm to answer to Sanan's pressing question.
三男さん、質問は後にしてくれ。報告はまだ終わってねえ。
Leave the equation for later, Sanan. His report's not finished yet. Sanan's brow furrowed sheepishly, and he fidgeted nervously with his glasses to deflect the attention.
で、サイト、連中は一体どこから落ち水を手に入れやがったんだ？
Alright, Saito. So where the hell did they get that water of life from?
まさか幕府側に薩長と通じてる奴がいるのか？
Don't tell me they've got someone working in the Satsuma Choshu now with that kind of access.
それは
Well... At first Saito seemed to hesitate, taking a quick gulp before looking into my direction. I nodded curtly. Then Saito continued with his report.
その羅刹は薩摩藩と懇意にしているあの風間天霧。
These particular furies are connected to the demons who worked with the Satsuma Chosu, Kazuma Magiri,
そして高堂さんが作り出したもののようです。
and Kodo. I believe they're all responsible for this.
体力も素早さも我々新選組の羅刹隊を上回っているように見受けられました。
Both their physical strength and their speed are beyond that which is capable of the Shinsengumi Fury Corps.
昼間動けるようになったってことは弱点が一つ消えちまったわけだよな。
So they figured out how to get those bastards to move in the daylight, huh? Which means one less weakness.
しかもこっちの羅刹隊より力が上ときてやがるか。
And adding salt to the injury. Ah, they're stronger than our own Fury Corps. Ain't that some shit? Chikata tapped his fingertips irritably on the tatami. It was something that bothered me more than that Saito was describing, however. Within his room were 6 people, including myself. However, the only ones speaking were Saito and Ichikata. Kondo only mustered powerless sighs, and Sanan.
日中動ける羅刹を作り出したというのが本当だとすると
If all this is as you account, then have successfully produced furies that are efficient as sunlight.
高堂さんは新選組を離れた後落ち水の改良に成功したということか
Then it must mean Kodo has unearthed the breakthrough with the water of life that had eluded him before he left the Shinsengumi. Sanan stared at the floor, muttering to himself. It was an incredible thought, but to be sure, and Sanan was flabbergasted as he wrapped himself in Saito's words. Heisuke, who was seated right beside Sanan, was glaring at the man sitting next to him with a stern expression. Interesting, guys. Between the departure of Nagakara and Harada, and Kodo's lack of pronounced direction, it meant that the burden of responsibility fell heavier than ever on the shoulders of the men in his room. One of the 4 stalwart leaders, Okita, was being treated for a terrible bout of tuberculosis, meaning that he had sadly unable to help us in these tiring times. Soji Okita, captain of the Shinsengumi 1st Division, after returning to Edo, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis and became bedridden. Which left Saito with a large role to help steer this increasingly bereft Shinsengumi in a positive direction. However, he was struggling with his own afflictions, having been forced to consume the water of life. Just from looking at him, I knew that his bloodlust was only going to become more intense as time went on. Even so, his work ethic was unbreakable, something I admired dearly about him. Considering what predicament the Shinsengumi had to face, I could not bear to tell him that he deserved rest. All I could do in the meantime was patiently observe Saito's gradual and pleasant decline. We awoke the next day to a bright, placid morning sky. Out of the blue, Hijikata summoned everyone for a meeting, projecting his voice loudly to all of his men.
そろそろ江戸にとどまるのも限界みてえだな。
Gentlemen, seems our time is up here in Edo.
限界というのは
What do you mean, Captain?
今江戸城にいるお偉いさん方は戦う気をまるっきりなくしちまってる。
Those tight asses up in Edo Castle have all but lost the will to fight.
ここでくすぶって戦の機会を逃すより、戦う意志が残ってる連中と合流する方がまだ勝ち目がありそうだ。
Rather than waste away here and wait for them to hand us our asses, I'd rather take a chance and meet with the folks still ready to give their all for our cause.
ということは会津に行くのですね。
So, you mean you wish us to head to Aizu? Clan related by blood to the Tokugawa clan, and were put in charge of the office of the Kyoto military commissioners. They supported the Shinsengumi in Kyoto. Okay.
伝習隊に幕府回転隊、幕府遊撃隊、会津藩に桑名藩。
Yes. The Denshu Company, the New World Army, the Yugeki Unit, Aizu, and the Kuona Domain.
薩長のやり口が気に食わねえって奴らはいくらでもいる。
That's plenty who are fed up with how the goddamn Sasha plan are running things around.
そうだよな、近藤さん。
Right, Kondo. Hijikata called out Kondo, while being mopping with his head held low off the side, but no answer. In fact, it seemed as though Hijikata's spirited declaration was practically falling on deaf ears.
近藤さん、聞こえてるか？
Kondo, are you listening to me? Once more, Hijikata called out to Kondo, who finally looked up after festering in his wistful mood. His response, however, was...
なあ、そうだな。
Ah, yeah, sure. Kondo's delivery was half-hearted at best. He wallowed in his forlorn expression, aiming his dejected murmurs towards Hijikata, although they could have been for anyone. But, given how detached they felt...
トシ、会津には俺も行かなきゃならんのかな。
Hey, Toshi. Am I supposed to leave for Aizu as well?
当たり前じゃねえか。
Well, obviously.
新選組を引っ張っていく人間はあんた以外いねえだろ。
Who the hell is going to lead the Shinsengumi aside from you, huh?
大丈夫だって。
Hey, chin up.
負け戦なんてそう続くもんじゃねえよ。
What happened back there will never happen again. Hijikata did his best to comfort Kondo, who seemed to sink deeper and deeper into his depression. But it was a futile effort.
どういう段取りを踏むつもりなんだ？会津って結構遠いけど。
Aye, guys, so what's the plan, huh? Aizu ain't exactly just around the corner.
流山に松本先生の知り合いの家があってな。そこをひとまずの拠点にするつもりだ。
Nagareyuma, an acquaintance of Dr. Matsumoto, has residence we plan on using as a base of operations.
ここにある武器や一般の大使、羅刹隊を少しずつそこに移動させていく。
So the plan's gonna be to move our arsenal soldiers and the Fury Corps out there for a prolonged period.
なるほど。まあいきなり何もかも会津に運び込むのは無理だもんな。
Alright, makes sense. It would be practically impossible for us to send everything and everyone to Aizu at once. Saito, who had been observing us wordlessly from the corner, suddenly spoke up.
副長、千駄ヶ谷にいる宗司は
Commander, what about the soju in Sendagaya? Sendagaya, a clinic located in Edo in which Soju Okita received medical treatment for his respiratory illness on the orders of Dr. Ryojin Matsumoto.
この間、近藤さんと一緒に見舞いに行ってみたんだが。
I went with Kondo to visit not long ago, but
とても刀を握れる状態じゃねえな。残念だが、江戸に置いていくしかねえ。
doesn't look like he'll be able to fight, much less hold a sword. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave him in Edo.
そうですか。
I see. After Hijikata revealed the bad news, Saito politely answered with his usual stoic tone, but even so, it was a pain to see that Saito was disappointed. But he and Okita had worked alongside each other as friends, no less, since the Shie holidays. I was confident that Saito would have left far more comfortable fighting alongside his old comrade. Just then,
新選組の剣としてあれだけの働きをしてくれた沖田君でさえ
even for Okita, who dedicated so much of his time and effort to serve the Shinsengumi sword.
足手まといとなれば切り捨てられてしまうということですか。
Well, there is really no room for error, is there? Especially when one could be deemed a burden, huh?
我々もいつ見捨てられるか分かったものではないですね。
Who knows when the axe will fall for any one of us in the room as well? Sanan's demeanor was plaintive as ever, but his icy joke was enough to stop everyone in the room.
悪い冗談は大概にしてくれ。俺がいつあんた方を見捨てるなんて言ったんだ。
Aye, leave your pissy attitude at the door. You swear do you get off, huh? Did I call anyone a burden around here?
言っているも同然では。
Well, that's what you suggest, isn't it not?
行動さんが持っている落ち水があれば羅刹体をさらに強化できるかもしれないというのに。
If we could only obtain access to the water of life that Kodo produced, well then perhaps we could invest some of our energies into the Fury Corps instead.
あんたともあろう人が何言ってやがる。
Oh, given the rest, you should know better.
今の行動さんが俺たちなんぞと交渉したがるはずねえだろうが。
There's no way in the hell that Kodos ever want to work with us. What are you thinking?
話の運び方次第では。
You think you cannot be swayed in negotiation, do you? Sanan, you. A fiery contempt burned in Nijikata's eyes as he shot Sanan a stern look in response to his implicit question. But Sanan maintained his cold composure, seemingly unfazed by Hijikata's hateful ire.
ただの冗談ですよ。
It's just a joke.
こんなざれ言に目くじらを立てるとは。君も随分余裕をなくしているようですね。
For you to have taken my suggestion so seriously must indicate that the pressure is slowly wearing you down to the skin of your teeth.
冗談なら時と場所を選んでほしいもんだがな。
Well, it'd be better if you had a better sense of time and place when it comes to your asinine jokes. Things were left unsettled as the meeting was disbanded, but was Sanan truly joking? Was this question just an attempt to mess with Hijikata, or was it this possibility he had silently entertained? These thoughts were sifted back and forth in my head, well into the night's end. As soon as Hijikata gave the official order to depart for Aizu, the headquarters became abuzz with activity. However, being short-handed as far as leadership figures were concerned meant that we were stretched quite thin with delegating important tasks. One captain particularly felt the burden of it all. Saito, is everything okay? There's practically no color on your face.
大事ない。
I'm fine. But don't you take a moment to rest? I know that you're working pretty late into the night yesterday.
会津行きの支度を早急に済ませなければならない。
And yet there's still so much to prepare before the departure for Aizu is complete.
休んでいる暇など。
Resting is a luxury I cannot afford. Saito's face was pale, sunk in mess, so gaunt I was certain that he would pass out from exhaustion. But don't you think that you're collapsing would defeat the purpose of all the efforts you're putting in? I think you at the very least could find time to rest during the daytime, if you insist on staying up late.
確かに昼起きているのは疲れるが、それでも人間だった頃よりマシな働きはできているはずだ。
Although I may tire during the hours of day, I should be more than capable of working beyond my typical human capabilities. That's not the point. Saito hadn't changed. He was so unbelievably stubborn when it comes to practicing self-care. The fact of the matter is, whether or not he's able to work beyond human capabilities was irrelevant. It was relevant was that Saito was made to suffer this painful affliction, and he simply endured. I was beginning to ask myself if Saito had fallen under the delusion that his body was irreplaceable as his sword or his armor. I pursed my lip in thought as I stared at him.
それに、俺が働くのをやめてしまえば、新選組は。
And besides, if I were to stop working, then the Shinsengumi would... Huh?
なんでもない。
Nothing. Saito cut himself short, falling conspicuously silent. Just then, he let out a distressed groan. Then Saito began to sway where he stood. There we go. Saito, are you okay? I hastily rushed to his side, supporting what was becoming dead weight as I frantically called him. Saito's full supple lips were becoming pale, and his breathing became ragged as he gasped for air. Are you okay? Just hold on. Apologies. I'm acting foolishly. He offered his frail hand, hoping to use my body as leverage to lift himself back to his feet, but he became powerless, and neither his legs nor arms had any strength in them enough to move. Don't strain yourself. Why don't you give yourself a moment to lay down? I will prepare your bedding in the next room. Saito shook his head. Fine. By staying still here, I believe it will pass. As always, Saito had adamant about declining. All I want for him is to rest, but alas, there was no convincing him. His affliction, however, did not wait for him to decide. There we go. After a brilliant flash, Saito's hair turned white. My inclination turned out to be true. Saito was transforming into a fury. From what I remember, his fatigue and stress would slowly melt away. Were he able to drink blood? Blood. For sure blood. For sure blood. It was a bit of a gamble, but to be sure, because she's a pure demon, I guess, to try this option in hopes to improving his physical condition, but this was all I could do for him. Saito, please drink my blood. As my command fell under his ear, Saito's shoulder twitched. The Shinsengumi's not in the best shape right now, right? That means we need you more than ever. Saito pressed himself against me, and his breathing became a labored wheeze. Without a second thought, I unsheathed my kodachi, and I sliced a thin cut in my earlobe. Small, but droplets of blood came oozing in. Out. Everything will be okay. When you drink blood, I'm sure you'll feel better in no time. And I calmly wrapped my arms around Saito's body, and I nuzzled my bleeding earlobe against his soft lips. Ah, cuties. His tongue was gentle but eager, and I felt a chill run down my neck as his mouth wrapped around my cut. Apologies. His ragged breath tickled my ears. Without saying a word, Saito sipped the blood. The frequency of warm, staggered breathing began to slow itself. This alone made me feel relieved. It was being able to ease Saito's suffering, even if it was just a little. As a sigh in relief, I had sensed something was amiss. The cut I just made had earlier healed, and yet Saito's lips and tongue were still licking gently at my ear. Saito, I think the cut's already closed up. After I timidly expressed my observation, Saito's fingertip, which had only moments earlier stroked my hair, twitched awkwardly. Oh, was that not enough blood? Do you want me to make another cut? Once again I asked him. Ah! Saito hurriedly to his feet with such aplomb, and it felt as though he were pushing me away. What's the matter? I'm sorry. Saito stood impetuously, and for some reason he looked shaken. What would you like me to do? Should I cut my ear again? No, it wasn't the supply of blood that was inadequate. Really, just tell me. If it wasn't enough for you, you don't have to hesitate to ask, okay? Alright. What had gotten into him? Just then his mood had shifted completely. However, the color had lifted out his complexion again, so maybe I don't have to worry? I must say it's very suspicious. I must say it's very, very suspicious. April the 1st. Alright guys, we will stop here at April the 1st. We will stop at April the 1st and we will continue this episode next time. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate you following this series. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, share your opinions, and as always, see you next episode. Have a good day, everyone.